Welcome to the Gyrl podcast, the show where purpose meets inspiration. Each week, I sit down with incredible individuals who open up about their real life journeys, the wins, the setbacks, and the lessons in between. Whether you're navigating career moves, entrepreneurship, or personal growth, you're in the right place. I'm Kyra Mitchell Lewis, your host, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's go up together. All right, happy Thursday, my friends. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you're having a fantastic week. Let's talk about our guest for today. Today, I will welcome Brian Thompson to the show. He is a financial advisor and business strategist who helps LGBTQ plus and mission-driven entrepreneurs build profitable businesses rooted in purpose. A former tax attorney and a podcast host, Brian blends financial clarity with identity-led planning to help founders grow sustainably. So today we'll talk about purpose, profit, and identity, how to build a business that truly fits. So let's grab Brian and bring him into the chat. All right, well, welcome back. All right, and let's welcome Brian to the show. Welcome, Brian.
Thanks, Kyra, for having me. I'm excited to be with you and talk with you.
Yes, I'm so glad you're here. Well, we're going to dive right on in and have you tell everybody listening and watching who you are and what you do, and just talk about some of the work that you do every day.
Sounds good. My name is Brian Thompson. I'm the founder and financial planner for Brian Thompson Financial, where we help mission-driven businesses make impactful and profitable businesses. So focus mostly on business planning and some sort of technical consulting as well.
Awesome. Okay, well, I have to tell you, I really am so glad you're here because I think in our discussion today, because so many times people feel like if I'm doing good, then that means I shouldn't profit when I'm doing
Right.
like good things for other people. But you know, those two things can merge together. You can do good work, do good things that support and have impact, as well as also take care of yourself financially. So,
Yeah.
so
Both those things can be true for sure.
yes, they can exist at the same time. So let's start our conversation there because that is my first question. It is many founders, believe that they have to choose between impact and profit. So why do you feel like that is a false choice?
Yeah, I'm not even sure where that came from, right? I feel like most people think, I imagine it came from the concept of money or greed being bad, right?
Mhm.
How we've all been grown up with this mindset of how people with a lot of money are certain types of way and certain types of people.
Right.
But that's the first myth that I tried to dispel with people is that you can do good work, you can do good things because you're bringing value to other people, and you can make money. You can have a life that you want. I was talking with somebody this morning. Uh, who is now a millionaire, right? We started working together 7 years ago and didn't imagine that he would be where he is,
Mm,
still having the impact that he's having, right? He does amazing, amazing work that helps lots and lots of people.
mm.
Um, I, to me, these types of stories are something that I really love seeing and really thrive on seeing because I know that you can make money and do good work. It
Yeah.
doesn't need to be mutually exclusive.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love when there's a like a real life story and there's you having that feeling. And I also saw like how you just lit up where
Mm.
you talked about like how long you've been working with this person
Yeah.
and now seeing them where they are today. Like it was like all this suffer.
I'm
It,
glad you could see it on my face. Yeah, when you asked me to, like, how I was doing today, and I literally got out of the meeting, like, an hour ago, and I'm still feeling a high from that. I love what I do. I love getting to help the people that I get to help and see the impact that they have, and then also see their lives grow over such a long time frame. It's really amazing work. I'm very, very grateful to get to do it.
Oh, I love that. That made me really happy because it's so important. I mean, I think like it's so important for people to have and find that support system that can help them grow and that believes in them. And and it's your belief in your client that has played a really big part in helping them to grow to get to where they are today. And so it's like it's just awesome to like see it all like play out. So
Yeah, I
kudos.
completely agree. Yeah, thanks.
All right. So let's talk about how has your own identity shaped the way you built your business and how our listeners can lean into what they are trying to create, if they're trying to create something that feels authentic and then also find success.
Yeah. It's taken me a while. I'm gay and a part of the LGBTQ community, and also being a Black man in society. I
Mhm,
feel like I've done a lot of morphing and people pleasing in my life to try to fit in, to make sure that I was safe, and
mhm,
that's worked for me for a while. But at some point, I realized I had lost a sense of self. I'd lost who I
mhm,
was and who I wanted to be, and
mhm,
so that was one of the surprisingly beneficial things about starting my own journey is that I really had to lean in and learn about who I am, learn my areas of attributes, areas of improvement, and make sure that I'm
mhm,
leaning into those to help build a successful business. So it all started with this internal work around who I was, who I wanted to be, what I wanted to build,
mhm.
and leaning into who I am. Right, I can't hide who I am, and I don't
Mhm.
want to hide who I am, and
Right,
I
yeah.
feel like I'm not for everyone, and that's okay.
Mhm,
If you especially business owners who are trying to start out and feel like they need to take on, lots and lots of different clients,
mhm,
that is also a myth, in addition to the myth of not being able to have impact and profit. You are here for a specific reason. This is what I tell people. You are here for a specific reason
mhm,
to do a certain thing, and the best thing that you can do is lean into that person, figure out who they are, and do that
mhm,
thing. We all have
mhm.
this thing, and I think if we do that internal work, we can really find something that is aligned with who we are and the impact that we want to have.
Okay, so Brian, let's just because you said a lot right there. I'm high-fiving you
I
because
saw you.
I because one thing that you said that I so agree with is that I'm not for everyone.
Mhm,
And I think a lot of times, like when you say, I would always say, when I was in corporate, I would always say this to people. And then I would say this to people when I started my businesses. I was like, and they were like, oh, wait. I was like, I don't mean it in a negative way. I'm just saying, like, what I have to offer, who I am as a person, it won't be for everyone. Like there
right,
may be people who say, "Oh, I gosh, I hate her personality." And that's okay. Like we're
right,
just not meant to be, we don't jive. Like that's cool. And
right,
I think like a lot, like you said, a lot of people when they start businesses, they're so focused on I have to get quantity over
mhm,
quality. And
right,
it's like your people are out there. They are your community. They're out there. They're looking for you just like you are hoping to find them. And all you have to do is just really be patient and continue to show up as your true self.
mhm.
And I'm a, reformed people pleaser. So I exactly also know, what that feels like. And especially kind of growing up in corporate life, you sort of morph into this people pleasing role because you want to, you want people to find value in the work that
Mhm.
you do. And so whenever there's something to do, you'd be, oh, I'll take it on, I'll help you. And, and that doesn't serve you in the long run because it just ends up being a place where people just take advantage. And people
Mhm.
are just taking from you, but never pouring back into you. So I love that you
Exactly
said
right.
that because it's just so important for people to, it's okay to be who you are. Like, show up as you, and I mean, like, I'm like, that's what I'm always like, well, I show up as me, like I'm goofy, like I'm who I am, and it's like I have faults. I'm fun. I like to laugh. I like, like this is just like who I am, and I cannot be the person that
Right.
I am.
Right. And nor do you want to be. It's easier being the person who you are. It's easier to be who
Mhm.
you are and sink into yourself and know that you are goofy and sometimes irritable, right? We are a complex mix of things. And
Yes.
being able to be that whole person, for other people to see that whole person,
Mhm.
I think is the real connection for us because we're all here trying to do the best that we can. And like you were saying, just because we don't vibe doesn't make either of us bad or wrong.
Right.
It just means
Yeah.
we're not a good fit. And
Exactly.
why
Yeah.
waste our time uh, not being a good fit if we can find the people that really are in our tribe? And you can
Mhm.
only do that by sending the signal, the accurate signal of who you are, who you want to be,
Right.
how you want to relate to the world. And that also relates back to what I was saying about the internal work. You have to know who that person is.
Mhm.
I'll speak for myself. I did not know who that person was, especially
Mhm.
when I was in that stage of people pleasing and trying to figure out how I can best feel valued and feel loved and feel safe.
Mhm.
Um, I needed to do exercises and search and reading around who I am and then test out things. Am I this person? Am I not this person?
Mhm. Mhm.
All that took work. It didn't just show up.
Yeah. And yeah, I love that because you're right. I mean, I think myself, I did the same journey starting in 2019 of like
Mhm.
going to therapy. And
Mm.
one of the first things my therapist said, shout out to Dr. Corey because she's awesome. One of the first things she said to me, I was like telling her all these things that, that I about myself and things I wanted to work on. And her first words were like, you know what? You don't have boundaries. She said, you have no boundaries. So the first thing we are going to work on is
Mm.
helping you to establish some real boundaries. And I was like, but wait, all those things. She was like, yep, boundaries.
Boundaries.
Ain't gonna be good free. And I feel like we started that process and we started that work, and where it used to be really hard to tell people no,
Mm.
it started to become easier to tell people, well, actually, no, I don't think that I should work on that, or maybe you can take it. And it was a process. It was a process. We are in 2026 now, and I can look at myself across like each of the years to see like the growth. And I was even saying to myself, patting myself on the back here, just over in my last therapy session, because we were talking about from a business perspective, like clients. And I was saying to her that, I had a couple of clients that I was going to have to, sort of, it just didn't feel like the seasons were coming to an end. And and I had a client to come back that I worked with, and I had a rate change. So my rate had gone up from last year because I'm no longer in corporate America. So
Mhm.
now that I'm doing consulting full time, I was like, well, I've had a rate change. And I thought it was interesting because I'd had a whole conversation with this person. They talked about how, oh, yes, because I love working with you. You make my life easy, blah, blah, blah,
Mm.
all these things. And then when the rate came in, there was like this like pause. And the old me would have said, well, let me just follow up and say,
Mm.
okay, that's okay. I'll just we can do the old rate. And I said, no, actually, no. Like, this is the rate. You literally said that I made your life easy. You have to pay for ease. Like, you have to pay for the fact that you think that I make things smoother and it's so
Yeah.
easy to give me things. And I thought to myself, as a woman, would you have this conversation with a man?
Mm.
Or would you just go forth with his requirement of the new rate? And so, and I told my therapist, I said, now, the me a year ago would have chased that down and said, okay, let's just do it at this rate. Meanwhile,
Mm.
but feeling undervalued behind the
Right.
scenes. I said, the me now is just like, well, you know what? It was, I thank you for the opportunity, but I don't think it's a good fit for me right now.
Yeah. Good for you. And you
So,
deserve a pat on the back. You deserve a pat on the back for making that progress and knowing that you are worth what you charge. Right? You are
exactly.
worth this money. And just because somebody doesn't want to pay it doesn't mean you're not worth it. Just means you're
Exactly.
not a good fit. Right?
Is Thank you, Brian. Yes, for the
Yeah.
cosign. Yes.
Yeah.
Because
I could plus sign on that all day.
I think that's just important for, business owners, and especially for people who have businesses where you are wanting to have an impact. And just like Brian said earlier, like, getting paid like financially, and doing good, those two things, can work together, because like I like to think the work that I'm doing is, impactful.
Mm.
So, and it's like, no, you shouldn't have to settle for like devalue yourself in order to
Yeah.
just get the job. So,
Completely agree. And we should also admit that it's hard, right? It's hard to do that.
yeah.
It's hard to state what you're worth, to say
Oh,
the amount that you're charging and stay silent, not explain, right?
yes.
Charge what you charge, right? And it's hard. It's hard for all of us. We all undercharge at the very beginning. So you're not
Mhm.
alone if you are struggling with this.
Yep.
And, it's something that we all need to fight that imposter syndrome to make sure that
Mhm.
we are charging what we're worth and making sure that that
Yes.
resentment, that anger, that frustration of undercharging because
Mhm.
you talked yourself down
Yes.
doesn't
Yeah.
arise.
Is that something that you sometimes, find that you have to deal with clients who are indie? Brian was like, "Yes."
She said, sometimes, literally every client, including myself, right?
Yeah.
I've been in this business for almost 10 years and still struggle with raising fees, right? You had
Mhm.
clients that have been with you for a while and
Right.
your expertise has grown. Literally every client I've had to talk to about raising your fees and why raising your fees is important and why
Yeah.
this tension, this frustration, this resentment, those feelings that are popping up, they're telling you something. They're telling you you're not charging enough.
Yes.
And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I'm not for everyone, nor should you be for everyone. If
Mhm.
everyone is saying yes, if you are closing 100% of the clients that you're pitching, you're you are not in the right place. You need to make
Right.
sure that uh, sorry, my ear popped out.
Oh,
Sorry
can you
about
hear
that.
me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear.
Sure. Perfect.
Just saying, like, yeah, you're if everyone is saying yes, then
Mhm.
you are not charging enough, right?
Exactly.
You want
Yeah.
people to say no, and you want people to know that you are worth it. And some people don't want that.
Mhm.
That's okay.
Mhm. Because I have to admit, I'll tell you, here's an honest story and a transparent moment for me. I remember when I would talk to, coaches. Obviously, I interview a lot of people who help people. And I think that's really awesome. And then sometimes I will meet people who try to sell to me, just from hearing like my background or whatever, especially like when I was in the corporate world. And I remember like some of these people, I would like, wow, like, this is how much they charge for, like this is their high ticket offer. And I was
Yeah.
like, wow, that's a lot. But then, and I remember thinking that. But then when I, came out of the corporate world and started to look at like my own consulting fees, and then it made sense to me. And I was like, Lord, forgive me for everybody who I ever said, like, why are they charging that amount? Because when you think about the preparation that goes into creating these programs
Right.
and the work that's involved when you are coaching someone and you are going through the process with this person and you're giving of yourself. I'm like, yeah, like they earned it. And also too, it's smart because it does help you to weed out just the people that are probably not for you. Like you will get the quality people who are ready to commit and ready to move in and do the thing that they said they're going to do versus the person who's like, well, I was just gonna pay like $50 a month for your coaching services, your
Right.
consulting. And so
Right.
I will say like that's a lesson, something I learned. And so to anyone out there that I ever thought and said that, I apologize because you are definitely worth it and you are right in
Yeah.
charging what your value is because
Mhm.
then you will get alignment from the people who are meant to be in your space, in your circle that you should be touching.
Right. I think I really want to emphasize that part that you just said. You are bringing value to these clients. And to
Mhm.
me, yes, I know that most of us sort of back end our rates based on how many hours we're putting in, how much work it is. To me, that's the wrong way to think about it. What you should think about is the value that you're bringing to these clients. What are you doing for them? Because everybody's still worried about what's in it for me.
Mhm.
So if you are coming from the approach of this is a valuable service to you that will increase your revenue, it will increase the amount of time that you have to
Mhm.
yourself, will increase the amount of impact that you have tenfold of what you're paying me.
Mhm.
And that's why this is a valuable service. This is why I'm worth whatever I'm going to charge. It's because
Right.
I'm going to be making your life X amount better because of our work together. Being
Mhm.
able to really focus on that, I think, is how I at least challenge my clients to think about what they're charging and how they explain it to the people that they are charging.
Mhm. 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 I love that because we were answering questions ahead of time. I love that because I think that is really important because
Yeah.
and we sat there in that space for a minute because it is important, especially when you are helping mission driven founders as well, that I know a lot of times it can seem like, oh wow, like should I charge them this because and it's like, no, I mean you should charge them as well and they should charge them. They should
Right.
charge
They
their
should charge their
clients or
clients.
customers.
Right.
It's a circle. It's a circle. It's how it
Yeah.
works.
And I think people are more invested the more that they pay, right? And it's
Hmm.
exactly what you were saying. Like if people are paying $50 a
Yes.
month for you, they don't really care about that $50 a month, then
Yeah.
they're going to act a certain way in that relationship and be a
Mhm.
certain way in that relationship. Whereas if $50 feels like a lot to them, they're going to be invested.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so you need to find the people that are really invested and say that
Mhm.
this amount of money, this $1,000 I'm paying you a month, is
Mhm.
well worth what
Right.
you're bringing to me and the value that you bring to me, and making
Exactly.
sure that you're aligned in that way.
Yes, I couldn't say it better myself.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about some early signs when people start to build a business, and it may not be the right fit for their life. What financial or strategic shifts can help them course correct before they get too far down the road?
I think it is what we've been talking about, having that sort of thought partner or mirror that
Mhm.
shows you what's going on with you and what you're feeling, like helps reveal to you what you're feeling.
Mhm.
Because your emotions are signs or signals. They're not good, they're not bad. The frustration, the anger, the resentment, the happiness, the joy, they're signals to you of saying, I want
Mhm.
more of this or I want less of that. And so being able
Yes.
to really pay attention to what you're feeling, your experience will tell you all that you need to know before the numbers will, before the difficult client relationships will. Your inside, that internal work that you do, will tell you
Mhm.
all that you need to know about what direction you should take your business.
Mhm.
And once you know, it's really iterating. I'm a huge fan of the lean startup and that mantra of build, measure, learn. You build something, you put it out there, you test it, you measure how things are going, and then you iterate. You keep that cycle
Mhm.
as quick as possible to make sure that you are going in the right direction so you can continue to learn. It's not ever going to be perfect. It's not ever
Right.
going to be exactly how you want it. Your goal is to keep iterating
Yeah.
till you get to a place that feels good and
Mhm.
stable.
I like that because, yes, I like to refer to those as like test and learn moments.
Mm,
And I think it's like important, like you said, because you can't just set something and leave.
right.
Like, you have to keep going, you have to keep learning, it has to keep evolving, and like you said, it'll never be the perfect thing. Like, I'm just always like my mindset is like, "You gotta fail fast."
Mm,
Like,
yep.
you've got because it's so interesting because I think they're different personalities. Like, I'm a person who I could build something in, like I get an idea, and I could build something, like, pretty quickly and put it out there. And then there are people who just sort of have like the like paralysis where it's like they consistently are going back and trying to make sure that, oh, well, I need to check this thing, but the world never gets to see it because they're
Right.
consistently like stopping themselves from actually like taking that step to actually
Mhm.
put something out there.
Right. I'm that latter person that you talked about, that I'm including in addition to being a people pleaser, I'm a perfectionist. And so wanting things to be
Ah.
perfect and
Uh-huh.
wanting things to be clean and sleek right as they
Mhm.
go out. Um,
Mhm.
I will say I've gotten a lot better at that.
Uh-huh.
At being a business owner, because I've had to like put stuff out there and see it works or change things right away.
Mhm.
But that's still in me. So I have to
Yeah.
fight myself to say, nope, this is good enough. Put it out there, see what happens,
Mhm.
try it on, see how it fits is my mantra.
Mhm.
Try it on, see how it fits. If
I
it fits
like that.
great, keep it. If it doesn't
Yeah.
fit, take it back, right?
I like that because I think we all have some of that in us, right? I mean, you want things to be like I am in a background in marketing, so I'm
Mm,
like, always looking and looking, but I remember had this boss, many years ago who said, who introduced me to, like, "You have to fail fast." She was like, "We can spend time, like, doing this over and rounds, and every time we look at it, we're gonna find something that we can change. But
yep.
we just have to do it, see if it works. If it doesn't, then we figure out, like, we pivot." And ever since, I came into her sphere, that is how I've tried to look at it, especially like as an entrepreneur because you just don't have it and most times it's just you. So you
Yep.
just have to like you have to put it out there and see because you can ask a number of people, but everybody will give you a different opinion sometimes. Maybe
Exactly.
do it this way. Oh, maybe I think it's fine. Maybe do this. And I never try to get myself caught up in like having so many conversations with other people to see like what they think. I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna try it. And
Yep.
I can always put what I always tell myself, I can always hide it on the website.
Yeah, that doesn't work. We can hide it.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you,
Also, I will. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was curious because I feel like that's an evolution in that mindset for you. And I'm curious to hear more about how what you had to do to make sure to get in that mindset of like it's okay to try things and test them out versus
Right.
having it be perfect.
I really think it was the pandemic
Mm.
It was really during the pandemic because I was just launching Glow Up Girl in or the plan had been to launch Glow Up Girl as more of like a community and an in-person type events. So it would be where we
Oh,
get
no.
together. Yeah. Yes. We get together and we'd sort of talk about things that matter to women in our communities and things like that. And so the pandemic happened and so I was like, "Huh, okay." So we were in March and everything and I was like, "Okay, maybe it's going to be 2 weeks. We'll go back to work soon." All those things. Well, it didn't. In April we were still at home and then pretty soon I heard like a voice say to me, "Start a podcast." And I said, "Absolutely not." Nobody wants to hear what I have to say, so we will not be starting a podcast. And so, but it just kept coming, and I like to refer and say that it was God speaking to me, and
Yeah.
I kept hearing it like no matter where I was, like in my the shower is like my thinking space. Like I love being it, and it was like, "Are you gonna start the podcast?" So
You're like, "Nope."
and then I was like, again, we had this conversation. I said, I don't think so. I'm not the
We've already talked about this.
and then again, it just was like nagging. It wouldn't let me be because and I guess it's my own fault because I had prayed and I had said, "Okay, well, Lord, I can't have events. So how am I still supposed to bring this community to life?" And it was like,
Mhm.
"I'm giving you the answers, yet you are running from it." So finally, I had no experience with like podcasting. I never thought this was something that I wanted to do. I didn't even think I would be good at it. And so
Mm.
when I decided to do it, I sort of came in I don't know if I know you're a podcaster too, and
Mhm.
I don't know if you remember when Anchor was a thing, like
Mm-mm.
it was like the Spotify program, and so you could record from Anchor like on your cell phone. So it was like,
Mhm.
oh, it's supposed to be so easy. You can just do it on your phone and blah blah. And I did that because at the time I was like, okay, I just need to do it because if I don't do it, then I'll
This
never
voice
do
is gonna
it.
keep talking to me.
Yeah, and I felt like if I go into the planning stage, then I'm gonna keep myself in the planning stage as like a way to not do it because I was gonna
Mm.
say, "Oh, I need to research mics. Oh, I need to research the best
Mhm.
platform." So I
Mhm.
found, the Anchor one pretty easily and it was terrible. I mean, like everything was loud, things were low, and people were cutting out and cutting off and we were restarting but I told myself that I'm just gonna put it out there because it's real and it's
Mhm.
real life and it's what's happening. And so that's why I always tell people now, I'm like, we have a technical audio issue. If it's just something small, whatever, we keep going because
Keep
I'm
going.
like, it's just this is real life. And so that was a time where I saw that I was okay with putting something out that wasn't my best,
Mhm.
but I was going to learn from it and continue to grow and get better. And so
Mhm.
eventually, I went to a different platform and started to use I forget what to say. I used a different platform before I came back here to Zoom, which is quite interesting in itself that like I went around the world to all the different platforms and I'm like, yeah, Zoom does just fine. If you have good
Yeah.
editors, I mean, it does just great. But yeah, that was a moment for me where because I realized that like I had to pivot. Like I
Mhm.
had to pivot in order to still bring what I felt like God was giving me as a purpose to do for women. So I had to do it. And I couldn't hold myself back because I would have, if it were left up to me, I would have never started podcasting that year. I would have just kept
Yeah.
finding reasons and excuses for why couldn't do it. But now in 2026, it's a highlight of what I get to do. And I'm like, "Oh, I actually like this."
Yep, I could see the smile on your face when you talk about it, right? And I
Yeah.
feel like it's that listening, we keep talking about the internal work, that listening
Mhm.
to that voice, whether you call it God, whether you call it the universe, whether you call it your
Yeah.
inner conscience,
Yeah.
whatever it is, there's something telling you, giving you direction.
Mhm.
Rather than fighting and fighting and fighting, try it out and see how it works.
Yeah, 'cause you
My
won't
guess
win.
is because you won't win. It's not gonna go away. It's gonna keep talking to you in the shower, but eventually, it may know a little bit better than you think you do. We all have blind spots, and being able to listen to that
Yes.
voice and get in that mindset of, I can change my mind. I can try this thing. It may not work out. I will probably learn something, but nothing's permanent. I can change my mind
Yes.
and do something else. And being able to, it's taken me a while to make that switch of like,
Mhm.
nothing's permanent. Try things out. It doesn't have to be
Mhm.
perfect. You have to live in this gray area. I'm a very black and white person. I love numbers. I love structure.
Yes.
Um, and I want certainty. Just that's not how the world works.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, and I'm like, I've worked in the gray for, like, my entire in my entire life, and that's just from, like, working in corporate, right? Where it's like, yeah, today it said this, but tomorrow or maybe 5 hours from now, it's gonna be this, or you may have to start a project where you don't get all the information. Like, I never got all the information, and the days where I actually got the information, I was like, "Are y'all for real? Like, this is all the stuff that I need to do the thing that you asked me to do." So I think I learned to, like, really sort of, like, be able to exist in that space, but I do
Mm,
think, like, I can agree there I think I have a weird very weird, like, personality archetype where it's like I can thrive on both sides because there's very a lot of parts of me where I'm very, like, I need structure and I like
mm,
routine and I like certainty in a lot of areas, but then there's the creative side of me that's like blah all over the place. And I've always had to work to tune and to hone that in because in corporate spaces, that creative person doesn't like
right.
survive because you have
Right.
to find focus. And that's what I always tell people. I'm like, oh my God, yes, like if I could just live a life of freedom and like create all day, like that is exactly what I would do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do any I would never do this other stuff.
Yep.
I
I
love that.
I love that too, and I love that and this is what I love about podcasting is that you get to hear real stories and real people's
Yes.
journeys along this way of, like,
Mhm.
figuring things out. We're
Yes.
all figuring things out. I used to
Yeah.
think when I was a child, like, adults had it all together, right?
I know.
Especially
Yeah.
my parents, they know exactly, and now I know I'm like, "Oh, they were a mess too," right? We're
Yes,
all
we're
we
all a mess. We're all
we're
works
all a
in
mess.
progress, and
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like that is the best part of being hosting this show is that I get to talk to people like you and others
Mhm.
who take us through the journey. And as I say when my show comes on, we talk about the wins, the setbacks, and the things in between. And that's important because
Right.
you don't need people to meet people and just say, oh, Brian's got it all together because he started this business and he does this thing. But no, Brian is telling us about who he is as a person and where he's had to work on things. And I
Right.
always say, like, those are, I love, I always say that to people, like, please don't come on my show and just give us surface, give me surface level because
Yeah.
that's not acceptable. We owe it to the audience to give like the real truth, whether that look pretty or not.
Right. It's not acceptable, it's not real, right? People don't connect with that
Yeah.
because we're all everyone who's listening to this is also struggling in some way and wants to
Uh-huh.
know that they are not alone and that they
Yes.
have the ability to work through and sort through whatever they're going through.
Yeah. Yeah.
And us coming on and being real and being positive,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the hard part about social media is that, we are all
Yeah.
putting out our best selves and
Yes.
while those things are probably true, there's also a lot under that that has
Yeah.
had to go
Yes.
into
Yeah.
where we are,
Yeah.
and being able to show everyone the entire picture, the entire
Yes.
package is
Yeah.
important.
I love that. I had a conversation earlier with someone and that came up and it said, and it was actually a guy, he said, I want to see your gutter before I see your glory. And I was
Go
like, I love that because you're right. He was just talking about how people, give you um, this facade sometimes on
Yeah,
social media. And sometimes people take that and they compare it to their own lives. And that's not really fair for people to, and we shouldn't compare ourselves to anybody anyway. And I know people know that, but I know sometimes when you're on social media, it's pretty hard. Sometimes people
right.
look at where somebody else is in their life. But I think we all have our own journeys and we take our own steps and there's a plan and a purpose for our lives. And we just have to lean into that
Yeah,
and trust. Just lean into it, trust and be you.
yeah, yeah, the plan and the purpose, I think, relates to who you are,
Mhm.
genuinely, right? And
Yeah.
being able to be the best Brian that I can be is what
Yeah.
I'm here to do
Yeah.
because everyone else is taken.
Exactly, yes, you're only one you, and yeah,
Yeah.
I always say that, I'm like, everybody we all have unique qualities that make us who we are, and we just have to lean into those. I say that every morning before my feet hit the ground, I said, "Thank you, Lord, for another day. Help me to be a better Kyra than I was yesterday."
Mhm.
Now just
Yep.
if that's what and then at night, "I'm sorry I wasn't a better I tried.
I've
Lord, I
tried today.
tried. Lord, I really, really tried to be the best version of me. We're gonna give it another go tomorrow."
Get up and try it again tomorrow. That's all we could do.
Oh my gosh. So, Brian, when you think about legacy beyond money, but
Mhm.
the impact of your work, what advice do you have for founders who want their business, finances, operations, and impact to reflect who they are in the long term?
You have to do that work first. Part of the foundational thing that we do whenever a client comes to me is we do a discovery phase. And we
Okay.
talk about the assets that you have now, your
Mhm.
cash flow, your taxes, your books. What are you working with right now?
Right.
And then the next meeting, we talk about where do you want to go? What are you trying to build? What's the impact that
Mhm.
you want to have? You have to be very clear with yourself about what that
Mhm.
is and conscious about your values that you're going to use to align with that, where you're going, how you're going to do that, and how you're going to test those values or what's going to happen when those values are tested.
Right.
And then we develop a roadmap for you of getting where you are to where you want to be.
Mhm.
That's the foundational thing that I feel like a lot of business owners skip because they get into a business and realize that they can start making money, they can start getting paid for whatever they do, and not really thinking that this is actually a business that I need to
Right.
think about, where I'm going to go, the impact that I want to have. So you have to do that foundational work first to make sure
Mhm.
you have that anchor, you have that foundation to build on, and then iterate, like we talked about, build, measure, learn,
Mhm.
and also realize that this is not just about money, right? Money is great, money is good, money
Mhm.
helps you live the life that you want, but you want to leave a legacy, you want to
Yes.
have impact,
Mm.
you want to leave this world better than it was before you got here.
Are you in my head?
Sit right
Are
now. I'm the
we
voice. I'm in the
are
shower
oh my god,
editing
are
the
we
podcast.
are we the same people? I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude and cut you off,
You're
but
good.
you just I say that all the time. It is literally the thing that I say, I just wanna leave the world better than I found it.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And we all want that, right? We all have that
Yeah.
inside of us.
Mhm.
And my job, what I think I'm put on the earth to do is to help
Mhm.
people know that they can do that thing and still live the life that they want. You can still have the impact and the inspiration that you want to provide and still go on vacation and take time off and spend time with your family and go to the gym. All of these things you can do. They are not mutually exclusive. And so that's what I feel like I'm put on the earth to do.
Yes, I love that. Oh, oh, I feel that I'm just this conversation, I love it.
I love
Love
to.
us.
Yeah, I love
Um,
us.
all right, Brian, let's talk about how people can work with you.
Okay. Yeah, I do one-on-one planning. So we do business planning. And again, we go through two different phases. We have a discovery phase that we talked about, and then we have ongoing care where we actually help you implement the things that we talk about, the roadmap that we talk about. And that's taking things out of your way, like bookkeeping, like taxes, like cash flow,
Mhm,
but also going through the coaching part of reminding you why you're here, what you're trying to do. I call it the art and the science of planning. You
mhm,
can't do one without the other. We need to know the technical things. We need to know the tax
mhm,
structure that just changed. We need to know the best way to set up your business. We need to know how to run a payroll. Like all those things we need
mhm,
to know and help you with. But we
mhm,
also need to make sure that you are going in the right direction. You're build, measure, learning. You're not charging enough. You're not getting in your own way. So that's how we work one on one together is to make sure that we are both doing the art and the science of planning. For people who either don't want that or feel like they need to start in a different place, I say the podcast is the best way to grow and learn. I do and solo episodes that talk about different structures around things that we work on when we talk about mission,
mhm,
vision, and values, or the technical pieces around taxes, cash flow, and making sure that your business is set up in the right way. But then we also have conversations where you can learn from people about
mhm,
how they built their business, the mistakes that they've made, how they've learned to live in the gray, how they lived to learn with the uncertainty. So that's another way that you can sort of learn and have some of me without actually having
mhm.
to fork over some money for me because I'm not
Um,
cheap.
I like that. See, he put it out there. You were transparent about it.
Yeah.
Tell people, so how can they connect and how can they listen to the podcast?
Yep. My website is btfinancial.com. And so that's where you can find everything. You can find my blog. You can find out how to work with me. You can sign up for a discovery call. And then the podcast is Mission Driven Business. And you can get that on all podcast platforms. You can also find me on Instagram. That's where I spend most of my time on social media. I post personal stuff. I post business stuff. So it's just a mix of things right now.
And
But
and what's your handle there?
at Brian Financial. Sorry. Thank you
Okay.
for that. Yep.
Awesome.
At Brian Financial.
And we'll also make sure we drop all this in the show notes as well. All right, Brian, we're going to transition to three things with Brian. I'm going to ask you three questions that just helps our audience get to know you a little bit better. So the first one is a favorite. I love it's a two-part. How do you start and end the day?
I start my day usually getting up and having a good breakfast, right? To me, my
Mhm,
favorite thing about the day is a slow morning.
mhm,
So I make sure I give myself enough time to wake up, hug my husband. He's a physical touch person. So I make sure that he
mhm,
gets his hug. And then I just start making breakfast. I love the routine of making eggs and oatmeal and coffee. I
mhm.
make sure I start my day at a slow pace. And then I usually journal before I try to get to work. And
Nice.
then the day starts. I usually end my day taking a hot shower.
Okay.
When you said the shower's your thingy place, that is also my thingy place. It's all my
Yes.
decompression space. Right before bed, I make sure my room is super cold, and then I take a hot shower, give myself
Mhm,
some time to decompress, let all the stuff from the day go. Say I
mhm,
try my best today, and
mhm.
then get ready to go to sleep and try it again tomorrow.
Awesome. I love that. The second question, what's a current intention you're focusing on?
This is a personal intention. I feel like I try to be as present as I can every day and
Mhm,
make sure that I'm in the day. There are so many things that happen during the day and so many things to look forward to or so many things to think about in the past. And
mhm,
I sometimes get caught up in not being present.
mhm,
So, as part of my mindset for 2006 is to be present, make the
mhm,
most of today and do a
mhm,
little bit each day, right? I have so many things, whether it's working out, whether it's learning German, there are things that I
mhm.
just want to make sure I do a little bit every day so I don't
Yeah,
lose track of what really keeps me present with the life that I'm trying to build. It's just
yeah,
focusing on today and doing what I can today.
I like it. And the last is, where are you currently finding inspiration?
I I love these conversations. I sort of like you, I was sort of hesitant to get into podcasting, and then I realized I just love it. And
Mhm,
I'm so inspired by talking with other people like you who get to share your story and see where you come from. This really, I feel connected, right? And I feel like
mhm.
my heart is full from being able to have these conversations and feel connected to another human and know that I'm not alone. So
Yes.
I'm really leaning in also to the podcast this year to make sure that I'm having
Yeah.
the conversations that I need to have and really feeling connected to um, other entrepreneurs in the world in a way that I haven't before.
Mhm. Awesome. I love that. Thank you. Well, Brian, let me just say I have enjoyed this conversation. It's been so nice. I was like, oh, it's like a kindred soul.
For
Um,
sure.
and before I let you go, I'm going to ask you one question, one last question. It is, what are three things you'd like the listeners or watchers to take away from our conversation today?
As I've sort of just been thinking about what we talked about, it's this mantra of fail fast or try things on, right? Being able to
Mhm,
know that things aren't going to be perfect and you're just going to have to try things and see how they go. And you'll learn either way. It doesn't need to be
mhm,
perfect. And being able to live in the gray is the second. Being able to understand that there's no right answer. We're all trying to do the best that we can
mhm,
and
mhm.
figure out the best that we can. And the third is what we talked about at the very beginning is you're not for everyone, and that's okay.
Mhm.
You don't have to be for everyone. You are here for a specific purpose, for a specific role, and the best thing that you can do is lean into who you are and that impact that you're going to have, and be that person.
Awesome. I love those. Those are excellent. Well, Brian, again, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for coming and sharing your story and your all the nuggets that you dropped for the audience today.
I loved our conversation. It's a pleasure talking with you. Hope we can do it again soon.
Yes, awesome. Stay tuned, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. All right, let's thank Brian again for joining us on the show today. I loved Brian. Behind the scenes, we just aligned on the fact that we were both Aquarius. So I knew there was a reason that he felt like a kindred spirit to me. Make sure you check out the show notes for the links to find Brian's podcast as well as his website to get more information if you want to work with him, and his Instagram handle as well. Make sure you follow him. If you'd like to learn more about Glow Up Girl, visit us at glowupgirl.com and sign up for our newsletter to get tools, insights, and inspiration for your glow up journey. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're not there. We are at Glow Up Girl, so go there, subscribe, like, do all the things. And wherever you're listening, don't forget to rate, review, and share. It helps more people find the show. And if you're sharing on social, make sure you tag us so that we can cheer you on. All right. Lastly, if you are looking to partner with Glow Up Girl this year, make sure you reach out hello@glowupgirl.com, or you can send an email, you can send a DM on Instagram, or you can check out the sponsorships that we have available on the website. All right, that does it for me today, my friends. Thank you so much again for the support and for taking time out of your day to spend just the small part of it with me. I am just overjoyed. I really, like I just said to Brian, like never in a million years did I think I'd be podcasting, but here I am, and I love it. And I just love being able to talk to people like Brian and others who trust me enough to share their stories with the world through this show. So, and through that, I have great listeners like you all, watchers, and I'm just so thankful for the support all the time. So, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And I will see you all next week. So, until then, stay focused, fab, and glow up. Take care, everyone.